It has finally concluded DCeased number 6. No time to wait. Let's get right to it. Talk about it. And share about the experience of our broken hearts. Hello my beautiful geeks, how is everybody doing today? Welcome to the review of DCeased number 6. I'm excited, I'm sad, I'm upset, a little bit of everything, but after all good things must come to an end. So here we go. So this issue starts off by telling us exactly what we already know. It is the end of the world. But not just because, you know, it's the zombie apocalypse or disease apocalypse, but also because now Superman is one of them as well. And the first panel that we see is just a whole bunch of people looking up to the sky and saying how our narrator, which now we know it's Lois Lane, saying when you usually looked at Superman, Superman is about hope, Superman is about happiness, and then Superman goes through this building, zombified Superman, the tallest building in the city with the most apartments, and he just kills everybody. And you're just like, okay, he is gone. We pan back to the Fortress of Solitude where we see the Justice League, or what's left of it, talking about a way to take down Superman. And if you guys remember a while back in review of 3 or 4, I don't remember, when Batman died, remember in the suitcase where the bat suit was for Damian and there was all the little pieces with all the symbols for the Justice League? Of course, Damian is like, we can take him down with... And yes, it is one of the weaknesses of the Justice Leagues. In this case, it's Superman's, which would be kryptonite. We see Alfred again real quick over here, which is good because I'm glad to see that he didn't really die. I feel like in the issue before, we didn't really see him. Or maybe I just didn't see him myself because I was just... So Wonder Woman comes up with the idea that there's 2 things that Superman is weak against. Magic and kryptonite. So magic, kryptonite, she goes, how about we put those 2 together and we make something epic and awesome and a killing apparatus for Kryptonians. So Wonder Woman forges a magical sword which is made of kryptonite. But it's not fully made of kryptonite, I would say. I would say it has like a kryptonite base, but at the same time it's magical. I'm gonna call it the Obliterator or the Superman Obliterator if you want. But it was one of my favorite moments in this book. Even though Superman's my homeboy, I really enjoy Wonder Woman making this weapon with all her knowledge of blacksmithing and her Amazon knowledge. And she made this weapon. In a comic, it was just 1 panel, but I'm sure it took her a while. But it was like a perfect weapon. Of course, everything that it's left, or everyone that it's left of humanity, has decided that they have to go right away before Superman comes back. So they go back to the Arcs and they start to take off. Except for Harley and Poison Ivy, who actually decide to stay back. They decide to stay back in Gotham. First, Poison Ivy is like, no, I'm not leaving the green. And then Harley is like, if she's not going, I'm not going. So I'm gonna stay too. We go to Atlantis, which is where most of the arcs are, and everything is going peaches and cream. And all of a sudden, you look at the horizon, and we see our man Aquaman, or Dead Aquaman, coming out of the oceans with a goddamn Kraken. Before I go on, I do want to mention this funny moment that Green Arrow had, when everybody had a weakness in the suitcase for Batman, but he didn't have one. And Green Arrow is just like, whatever. He's like really upset about it. But he gets to say something later on, which it's another one of my favorite moments in this book. So from afar, you see the Green Arrow shoots an arrow and gets Aquaman right in the eye. Gets him right in the eye. And then he says, okay, so I just hit him from like 9 miles away with the wind going against me. And Batman didn't have a weakness for me. Yeah, right. And then he says, fuck Batman. Yeah, I loved it. It was epic. I loved it. Not only did Aquaman bring the Kraken, as I mentioned, but a whole bunch of Atlanteans and like dead bodies from the ocean, which are now starting to invade Themyscira. And usually, it is explained that you would not be able to find Themyscira, but since they had to rise the island above sea level a little more, the barrier that protected it was now gone. And that's how come Arthur was able to find Themyscira and invade it. We get a really cool scene with Queen Hippolyta as well as Wonder Girl, where they're trying to hold back the zombified Aqua people. And it's pretty cool to see all the Amazons fighting all of the zombified Atlanteans. On the other side, we see that Green Canary and everybody else have found Superman, and she actually does this move when she creates like a megaphone out of the Green Lantern, and she does her canary cry, and Superman's just like bleeding out of his ears. It was a really cool move. It's like something out of Injustice 2. If you had the Green Canary or Black Canary, Green Lantern, that would be like her finisher move. I really enjoyed that. Another one of my favorite moments in this book. Had to mention it. Epic, awesome, top 3. Eventually, of course, unfortunately, because it's freaking Superman, he breaks through the formation of the megaphone, punches Black Canary or Green Canary or whatever we decided to call her, and she just snaps out of it, and then Wonder Woman ends up kicking in and comes in with the Obliterator. They had this really cool fight, and then Wonder Woman ends up stabbing Superman and Zombify Kal-El through the heart, or at least it looked through the heart from the panel, and you think, great, that's it, they did it, game over. And at the same time, I was like, that was too easy. And then my ladder was correct. It was too easy. Superman was so much super now that he had the anti-life equation virus in him that it was just like a tickle. He was fine. He was okay. It didn't kill him. So plan B, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, which was just this sword, did not work. And he stabs Wonder Woman, and by stab I mean he goes like through her stomach and just. So now Wonder Woman is down. And then just before these, all of the Amazons fell. So now I believe there's no more Amazons left on Earth. Cyborg then goes and tries to aid now wounded and mortally wounded, I would say, Wonder Woman. And you know what? He looks at Dinah and he's like, yeah, I wasn't really going to go with you guys. I was the one who started all of this. Not a good idea for me to go with you guys, so I'ma stay. Meanwhile, in outer space, Superman sees the arcs. He starts to follow the arcs. And then we see a moment with John Kent actually says to himself, okay, I know what I have to do. It's time to do it. He turns into a man at this point. Very pivotal moment in his life. Even though it's a non-canon story, I love it, I appreciate it, and I enjoy the hell out of it. He tells Damian, fake Batman, hey, I need you to take care of my family because I might not make it out of this. They have one more moment where they hug, all a bro hug and everything, and then he opens his shirt, which reveals the Superman symbol. Very cool. A really nice passing of the torch moment, even though Superman's already dead, but it was really cool because he had to face his father one-on-one. So he flies down to space, and they both collide with each other. This bought them exactly one more minute, which is exactly what they needed, because every single Green Lantern from that sector showed up in that moment. Guy Gardner is leading them. The cavalry is here. There is a light of hope. Literally, a Green Lantern light of hope. Because before you thought everything was. There is a moment with Superman, or Zombified Superman, stands in front of all of the Green Lanterns and he starts calculating, and then he decides, fuck, I'm not gonna make it out of here alive. So he decides to fly into the sun, and he starts absorbing all of the energy from the sun. Eventually, it is told to us that the sun would run out of energy, and then the whole solar system would die. So Superman ultimately kind of just became one with the sun while zombified. But we all know what's happened before in non-canon stories when Superman goes to live in the sun. So is this good? I don't know. I don't think so. But he's saying that he's absorbing all of the energy from the sun. So I guess he'll just eventually become Superman 1 million, Ultimate Superman, and then just rule over the zombies in a dark world. We don't know. But hey, if it happens, I told you first. We go back down to Earth really quick with one more interaction between Zombify now Wonder Woman and Cyborg, where Cyborg uses the lasso of truth and throws it at her and says, tell me the truth, what's happening, who are you, is there a cure, blah blah blah. And then she's like, yes, you are the cure. And then Cyborg is like, come on, that means that everybody who died didn't have to die. The cure was in me all along. What kind of Hallmark movie bullshit is this. He looks up at the arcs and he says, I have to go tell them. Wonder Woman comes out from behind him and just rips his head right off. Yeah, and it's not like in Teen Titans, his head doesn't come off like that. His head comes off, he dead. We see the arcs arriving to a new world. Call them our new Earth, our Earth 2, which I don't know if it's actually like Earth 2 from, you know, one of the 52 universes, like Universe 2. I think it's just like a new Terra 2 type of situation. And then we see that Jonathan survived the collision against his daddy. And there's a new Batman, there's a new Superman. The world now belongs to them, the new world. And then Wonder Woman, zombified Wonder Woman, never really died, and neither did zombified Superman. So maybe that gives us room for a future follow-up, crossover, solo story, whatever you want to call it. And that made me happy. Our story ends with our leftover heroes looking out at the horizon of space, the frontier of space, and just saying, this is it, this is our new tomorrow, this is what we're going to do now. So Superman didn't want them to have to leave Earth, but ironically, because of his transformation, they ended up having to leave Earth. Guys, this comic book was amazing. It gets an A+ without a doubt. I loved it. This whole series has to be my favorite series of the year. I want to give it right now the award of best series of the year. No ends, no questions asked, no nothing. I just love it. From 1 through 6, it was a never-ending heart attack, palpitations. I just wanted to know what happened next. And I do feel like they could have extended it maybe 1 or 2 more issues, but at the same time, I feel like if they did too much, it could have been bad. So it's bittersweet. It's hard to explain. I'm just gonna miss it. Hopefully, we'll get a crossover or some sort of spin-off in the future. But I gotta say, I enjoyed it a lot. But what did you guys think about DCeased number 6? About DCeased altogether? Let me know in the comment section below. This review series is over for now, guys, but I will see you again soon with more reviews of another comic book series. I don't know which one yet, only time will tell. As per usual, you guys have been awesome. Do me a favor, guys, stay awesome and geek on. Lewis out. There was like so much happening in this comic book that for the first time for all of them, I actually had to have like a little guide so I could go through it and I could actually like remember everything because so much happened in this comic book. True story, but I loved it. I can't wait. All right, see you later, guys.